Whenever you're ready, mate, you lead the way if you would.
Carlos, you okay?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Good. Team news we'll start with if we can. How are you looking? Any fresh injury concerns coming out of Tuesday night?
I think, fortunately, after this game, we continue with the same players that we arrived before to the game. Same number of players. Like we say, Danny Ward needs a little bit more time of recovery, so the situation didn't change. Only with Pipa, we feel some problems in a muscle problem in the last part of the other game. That's why we changed, but his recovery has been very positive too. So at the end, we can arrive to this game with the same number of players in the squad.
That must be a relief then about Pipa that he's able to play for you this weekend. He's been such an influential player, hasn't he, for you?
Yeah, from Pipa right here in the club. First of all, we signed him because we knew that we needed to sign to cover this position. At the same time, we only had one player there to cover the position in the first team, was Dimico. At the same time, we had one young player too, that is Aaron Rowe. So we know that in this long competition, this type of situation are going to happen. That's why we need to have everyone ready always to help the team in any moment, like, for example, Dimico did in the last two games.
Am I right in thinking that Alex Vallejo, is he still in isolation? Is he still getting himself in a position to be able to join you? Hasn't joined you yet?
We are trying to repeat the same program that we did with Sar, because he only can work by himself. He, like you say, is in isolation period. So he's adapting. He tried with the limitation that he has, trying to make the maximum work that we can. At the same time, we try to have some meetings with video calls, trying to explain some of the ideas, but trying to show part of the game. He's watching all the games. He have been watching all the games that the team was playing before, trying to understand a little bit better how is the team, what are the ideas and the spirit of the team, because always it's important to know how going to be your teammates before you start to meet them, because then you are going to be more easy adaptation.
Are you confident he could maybe be involved at the back end of next week? Maybe not the midweek game at Birmingham, but the week after?
Yeah, we are going to need with him a little bit more of time because, first of all, for the isolation, he cannot train with the team. And after, he's going to need a little bit of time to training to adapt his body to the football demands, because we know that he was not playing the last period of time. So with him, we need to be a little bit more calm, giving a little bit more space of time to be ready to help the team.
Fraser Campbell played a full 90 minutes and put in a real good shift as well. Where is he at in terms of being able to do that again on a Saturday after a Tuesday? Is he at a fitness level to be able to start and play another 90 minutes, do you feel?
I think this is the challenge with all the players, not only with Campbell. It's like with every player. We don't know. The challenge is to know who is going to be ready to repeat performances, and especially demanding performances, because, like you say, for example, Campbell covered more than 1,000 meters with high intensity. If I am not wrong, 1,150 meters with high intensity, it means that the impact and the demands of the game was very high demanding. When we play versus Swansea, Josh Koroma was covering 1,250 high intensity meters. And the challenge with him was if he was able to do again the effort 2 days later, and he did. He covered more than 1,000 high intensity meters too. So sometimes this is the challenge of the player. This is why they need to, this period for them is going to demand a lot. This is why they need to be ready to cover this demanding, to be ready and very focused in the recovery, in the time that they rest, what they are eating. Now every minute is key. Every action that they do can have a positive influence or negative influence in the next performance.
And that takes a real commitment from the players, doesn't it? Not just on the training field with you, but also living their lives away from the training ground, how they do that.
Of course, and if you add to this COVID situation, even more is the commitment out of the training grounds. But this is what we try today to realize. Sometimes with some players you need more, trying to convince more, but I think this group, the mentality of the group was very clear that they have to have this commitment, trying to push themselves to be ready to play this period of game, because it's not easy, because never in the championship, only the last year at the end, with all the conditions that we were talking before, that I don't want to repeat, only did once, because it's not normal to play a lot of games in a row. But this is the challenge that every club and every team we are going to face, and we need to be ready to face in the best conditions.
Can I ask you about your centre halves as well, and how difficult a decision it was for you to choose Sarr and Stearman and leave Christopher Schindler on the bench, and how you went about making that decision? Why were they the right two?
I think it wasn't a complicated decision because I was thinking that the Schindler had risk of injury if we repeat and if we wanted him to repeat the same performance of the day, because he suffered two injuries from we are here. Then at the end, the first game that he played 90 minutes was versus Swansea. So the risk with him was to, like, it's a play that we want to have with him. We want to be working and playing with him. So sometimes we need to be monitored. It's like we need to following the adaptation of the player and following the feeling of the player, the sensation, and at the same time the medical opinion too. So we were making the decision because I was thinking that he had more risk than other players. If we wanted to play two central back, we decided to play with the player with more risk, without the player with more risk.
Was he happy with that? Every player wants to play, don't they? Was he of the same opinion of you that it would have been a lot to ask him to play another game a few days later?
The best thing is to have the ambition of the players to play consecutive. This is the best thing that for me one coach can have, because sometimes the doubts in the coaches is who's going to be ready to repeat again the performances. And when you watch that the demanding of the players are even higher of your demanding, this is the positive way.
What have you made to Carol Eiting and how he's progressing since he arrived at the club?
I think the adaptation of him is a positive adaptation, because he started to play again without have a precision with the team. Then after this first game was versus Rotterdam, we used very well the international break that we have, trying to make him feel more adapted to all the ideas, to the competition, to the country, to the teammates. But I think the integration of him, his integration in the dressing room was the positive one, because I think every player always is open to receive players that have the commitment to help the team.
When we talk about him as well, do you think there's a lot more still to come from him? Do you think you've seen him at his best just yet, or do you feel he's somebody who will get a lot better the more he plays in your system?
I think Carol Eiting is a special player, because he plays as a midfielder. He can play more as a positional midfielder. He can play more as a mixed midfielder, helping the playing out and helping the team to finish the action. That is what he's doing right now. And at the same time, he can play even higher, close to the box. And it's not easy to find a player who has the skills to play in all the position of the midfielder of the pitch, of the middle of the pitch. And at the same time, I think he's one player who find options where another player doesn't have, that are not able to find options. And for me, he's a player that can control very well what happened close to him, and can control very well what happened far to him. That's why sometimes he surprises you with some passes that even you don't watch, and he can find a player that nobody was thinking that was a free player, and he find him. And at the same time, when the players need time to win the relation between them, because they start to meet and to know between them even better, and they start to know what is the possibilities that the player with ball has, and depend about the normal habits or possibilities, you can find one solution or another solution. So I think the integration of him is being positive. We know that we need to manage him -2 because he had in the past a problem in the knee, and this is all the things that we need to be thinking every time.
One player we haven't spoken about, I don't think, so far this season is Ben Hamer. Many people, and maybe even he himself might have felt his time at Huddersfield might come to an end in the summer, but seemingly now he's become your number one. He made a fantastic save on Tuesday night. How impressed have you been with him, both on the field and his attitude off the field as well?
I think Behema is being one of our important players. He's playing in all the games. He's the only one that has played, like I think he's the only one that has played all the minutes. Until now, he scored 2, and I don't know how he was playing all the minutes. He lost the Nottingham Forest, yes. Yeah. So he's one of the most important players. He's been one of the most important players. He's playing all the minutes, and I think he's managing very well the situation. He's managing very well the games. Our goalkeeper coach was very focused to work with him, with Ryan, and after we signed Joel too, with all of them. I think they are working really well, and he is taking the commitment, trying to make a better season. He was his dream. This is what he wanted to do, and I think he's managing very well the situation because it's helping the team a lot to get the points that we are getting.
Do you still put in the same amount of statistical analysis with him as you do the outfield players and all of the stats about maybe not the meters run, but are there different stats you use with him that you use with outfield players?
I think if you analyze a little bit the performance of the players, it's not the same to analyze, of course, one winger, one striker, or one central back, one keeper. The keeper, we never analyze the values. And I would like that our keeper never participate in the game. It will be our dream because it will mean that we are creating a lot of chances, we are playing offensive half, and the other team never pass the line of the middle of the pitch. But it's not like this, and we know that it's not going to be like this. Then at the same time, for me, one of the key players to start attacks of the team is the keeper, with the decision that he has to make, with the passes that he has to make, because we know that when one team tries to play from the back, the other teams are more focused in the high press. In the moment one team make high press, the keeper is going to have the ball a lot of times and need to be able to create this high press. So he's been one of our important players in the play now, but at the same time, the goalkeeper need to be ready to face, and that's why he's doing at the same time.
And finally from me then, Preston, what do you make to them as a side? They've been better away from home than they have at home this season, so they're a tough challenge this weekend.
I think Preston is a team that I know because I was following this team from I arrived to England. They were working 3 years and they are in the 4th year with Alex Neil. I think Alex Neil is working very well this team, creating one identity, being a very aggressive team without the ball. It's a team that when I was playing with them and I was in Leeds, was a team that always create a presence in the high press that they are doing. And it's a game that when you play versus them that you need to prepare very well because you know that they are going to be aggressive in the pressing, making very good things in terms of football things. So always we know that it's going to be a challenge, and we know that this game is going to be another very, very demanding game with different type of circumstances than the previous game. But this is always what we need to prepare the games, knowing that every opponent is going to demand the best, trying to get something positive.
Thank you, Carlos. All the best on Saturday.
Much.
Thank you, Johnny. Stephen, do you want to pick up from there, please?
I do. Hi, Carlos. Yeah, just continuing on that point about Preston. Huddersfield struggled quite a bit playing against those kinds of physical teams last season. Are you confident that this team is now equipped to deal with physical sides like Preston?
I think always it's complicated to play versus team that try to press you, and at the same time it's complicated to create chances with team that's waiting for you more in the back, and it's complicated to play versus team that they stay like in a mid block without press a lot, without come back a lot, reducing the spaces. Every game always have different type of things that make the game special and make the game hard. So the only thing that we need to what we try to do is we want to have the team ready and prepared to solve any of the context that one game can has. Of course, the pressing, the aggressivity, the aggressiveness of the teams are going to demand a lot from us, and we need to be ready about where are the spaces, if the spaces are short, if the spaces are long, who can be the free player that they can allow us to find. So, but this is not just with Preston, this is with all the team, because Derby County, for example, in the last game, they were aggressive too. And at the same time, Swansea, they were very aggressive too. And Rotterdam, in the first half, they were very aggressive too. And after, in the second half, Rotterdam way more in the back and was complicated to command the game and create chances, and we could do. So every game is a challenge, and we need to try to develop our ideas and our behaviors to beat the difficulty of the game. That always is going to appear.
Yeah, fair enough. We saw another really good performance out of Harry Toffolo on Tuesday, and he got an assist. He's a really important player for you in attack, isn't he?
Yes, Harry Toffolo is being very important player for the team, because he's showing one very high commitment with the team. He's showing a very high commitment trying to help the team in the building of the attacks, and at the same time in the finishing part of the attacks. And it's not easy to find this, because sometimes we find fullbacks that are more ready more to help the team in the playing out and until the middle of the pitch, but they don't have enough impact in the last third of the pitch. But I think all the fullbacks that we have in the club are fullbacks able to have the impact in the first third, in the middle of the pitch, and in the last third of the pitch. Because, like I said before, Brown is a player with very similar conditions of to follow. The Miko is a player with very similar condition of Pipa. Aaron Rowe as a young player is similar to the same. Even Bay Jackson, who was playing with us as a midfielder in the first games, because I think that he could play in this position, is another left back with another options to go high in the attack of the team. So I think is one go and participate in the last part of the task have to be one of the skills that our fullback need to have, and is one of the key skills that they have right now.
Yeah. You talked about keeping players fit and needing to balance the risk with injuries, but at the same time, when you're winning, you don't want to change the side too much. Where do you fall on that? Do you prefer to keep the team that's winning, or do you think the rotation is more important, or somewhere in between?
I think it's difficult because I think always that the stability is one of the keys to keep the performances, and every game can help you to play better. But at the same time, it's important that all the players be involved with the same ideas, that we try to replicate the demanding of the game the next day of the game with the players that didn't play. But it's something that everyone is not something new from us. That always we try to do, because we try to have the players first of all in good fitness levels to face the next games, and at the same time involved with the mentality of the team and with the ideas and with the behaviors. Then at the same time, every time you arrive to one game, you need to give the balance about which players are ready to put their team in the higher level that they can put. Because some players will be in normal circumstances, but maybe in this game, they don't have the physical conditions to can help the team in the way that they are doing now. And at the same time, they need to take this habit. And at the same time, the players who play some minutes need to be ready to play with the same level of the players that are playing. So for me, when the team is demanding, is with giving a good answer, is always positive, because it means that there is a demand for the players that go to the game, and at the same time keep the demanding with the players that are playing. So we will try to see in each situation what is the best decision that we can make.
Great. Thanks, Carlos. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Stephen. Leon, would you like to pick up from there, please?
Yeah, I've just got one question, Carlos. 3 game weeks. The last game is often the most demanding and hardest. It will be a big test.
I think the previous game was always been the less demanding than the next game. This is how we face the game. I think that the next game is going to be harder than the previous game, and it was the same expectation that I had after we finished Swansea, because I think first of all it's true, and second because it's like this, and second thing is the best way that we can prepare our minds to prepare the next games. So first of all because it's true, and second thing because this is how we can help to have a good performance, trying to face the harder game always in the next game, trying to forget very fast, between brackets to forget, no, but trying to forget a little bit the result of the previous game, just to be focused that every game is different and we need to have our strong mentality to face the next one.
When your side win a game, like on Tuesday, how long as a coach can you enjoy it before you think about the next one?
First of all, to get this, you suffer a lot in the bench. So you cannot say that you enjoy any winning, because all the coaches, even if you are winning one day with more goals of difference, even you are always thinking that they can change the result. So you never rest until the end. It's true that in the way that you finish the pitch and you go to your dressing room, you start to be a little bit relaxed and you appreciate the effort of the team or the result that you get. But at the same time, after you congrats the player for the effort that they do, you receive the next one pen drive with the next opponent. You know the first 11 that they have. At the same time, you know the opponents. I know Alex Neil. I know the team of them. Then always in your subconscious, you have the next challenge. So you say, I would like to enjoy this winning more, but we cannot do. Then what we need to do is enjoy trying to beat the challenges every time. I think as a coaches, our enjoying is more than the enjoy the winning, is enjoying preparing the team to beat the next opponents. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you.
Cheers, Leon. Jim, thanks for your patience, sir. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I suppose that Carlos, it was important last week that you got another goal scorer in terms of Bacuna scored. And how important is it to share around the goals in terms of being in a promotion hunt this year? You probably rely on 3 or 4 players getting into double figures apart from Fraser Campbell if you're going to be really in the promotion hunt. And Bacuna is a player that is capable of hitting 10 or 12 goals a season.
You ask me a lot of things, and I don't know if I understand all the things, but I will try to go little by little about what I understand. First of all, in terms of Bacuna, I think Bacuna is one player that is fighting with himself a lot, and he's trying to do, because he knows that he has the options to be a special player, but sometimes the options are going to appear, like in the situation that he scored the other day. He was helping the team to break the press, and at the same time, he was helping the team in the last third of the pitch. We know that before we arrived here, he scored 5 or 6 goals the last year, some of them very, very nice goals. Then we know the quality that he can have to score the goals and help the team in this part of the pitch. What we try to take from him is the commitment to help the team in all the options in all the moments that he can help the team. And this is what we try to keep with him. We know that he can play as a more mixed midfielder. He can play as a number 10. He can play as a number 7 or as a number 11. So we know that he's a player that can adapt to different possibilities, even if he's playing right now more as in the middle of the pitch. Then I listen a little bit to something of Fraser Campbell. Campbell is our only striker right now, because the injury of Danny Ward is creating this. We couldn't work all the precision with him. He arrived a little bit late because he had an injury from the last year. But I think Fraser Campbell is one player with a lot of experience in Championship, in Premier League. He's someone that we feel when he's playing the team that we have one clear reference, and it's very important for the team to find a striker not only ready to finish the action, ready to help a lot the team from the defensive point of view. In the same time that we were talking about Behema in the building the game, Fraser Campbell is someone that helped a lot the team to defend very well as a team, because we know that we need to defend very well as a team to can attack very well too. So he's a player that he arrived with this AD and like with these habits from himself. Is someone that he involved a lot in all the moments that he can help the team.
And I suppose lastly for me, Carlos, in terms of your opponents, Preston at the weekend, they're very sort of a consistent side in terms of their championship performances year in, year out. And I suppose to beat Preston, you know you'll have hard earned it. They don't come easy results against Preston.
It's impossible to think that it's going to be an easy game with Preston. It's impossible. It's like, it's impossible to think versus any opponent. When you arrive to Preston, it's especially with them because you came to analyze. I was watching the last night when I was watching on live in the TV the game versus QPR, and you are feeling their strengths. I was watching the game before to this game. I was watching when they beat 2-4 to Brentford, one of the strongest squad, and they are right there and they scored 4 goals. So I know how tough is the game, but this is why we try to prepare to beat this difficulty and to be ready to face, to have another positive performance, and hopefully from the positive performance we get something positive too.
Thank you, Carlos.
You are welcome.
Thanks everyone. I think that's everything for today, so we'll see you all on Saturday.
Thank you, Carlos.